I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
This Washington football team beat the Steelers.
Right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect me.
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode number 36. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I am your other wonderful, delightful co-host, Shaquille Brown.
Shaq, how has your week been?
Oh, could be better. Watching disaster and catastrophe on the court, but good.
Yeah, I think we both have witnessed our some funerals go down, which was as to be expected if you watched the last episode. But we'll get to that in just a second here. Yeah, folks, this is the show where we talk about everything NBA and NFL. Right now, it's primarily NBA because it's the middle of the NBA playoffs. But I'm a Boston Celtics fan and a Patriots fan. Shaq, who are your teams?
Big fan of the Miami Heat, even though they refuse to perform, and a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yes, yes, he is. Yeah, so this is the show that we record every single Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to watch live, we stream it on YouTube. The link is down in the audio description below if you're listening to the show. Just click, usually the first link will take you to the YouTube channel. Click subscribe, that way you can get notified every time we go live. But like I said, it's usually Wednesday nights around 9:30. But there's other podcasts on the channel, part of the Melheims Media Network, so there's a little bit of everything for everybody. But yeah, After Further Review, Wednesday nights, catch it live. And then if you don't see the live stream, as soon as we're done, you can catch the replay whenever you want. So the video version of the show is most definitely the best way to consume this fantastic show. But
Get to listen and watch us.
exactly. We have a loaded show this week, so we're going to get right into it. This was news that just came out this morning, and that was the fact that my Celtics are without a coach right now. So Brad Stevens, when I saw this headline first, I just saw Brad Stevens steps down as head coach, and I was like, oh, I like Brad Stevens. I did not want to see him go, and then Danny Ainge retired, and then Brad Stevens took his spot, so now he is basically the GM of the team, and we're going to be looking for a new coach to take his place. So yeah, Brad Stevens, now a GM, no longer a coach. He was coach since, don't quote me here, but I think 2013, around there. So he was a coach for almost 10 years. I love Stevens. I have absolutely no issue with this decision of him becoming front office and calling the shots as far as personnel goes. Yeah, I think, will he be a good GM? Obviously, we have no idea. There's no experience there, but I would like to imagine he will. But yeah, it seemed kind of like the locker room was more or less getting tired of maybe just his voice. The coach for a good chunk of time, maybe it is just time for a new voice in the locker room. That's not to say that he's a bad coach by any means. It's just, it may just, be that time. Shaq, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, maybe the shuffle around and people on different ends of the spectrum kind of give a fresh new look for the team on a whole. So maybe that's what you're just looking for. Just change of face sometimes help. So maybe it could be for the best, maybe it could be for the worst. So
yeah, it's since he has this was his first. The Celtics were his first team as a NBA head coach coming out of Baylor. And he did, I think, extraordinarily well. Like, we made the playoffs a bunch of times, took us to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times in that almost less than 10-year window that he was here. So, I mean, I think he did great as a first-time head coach. We'll see how he does, as a GM. But I'm happy for him. I'm more so just nervous to see who we go get as our next head coach. I mean, I don't know, but I would love to have like Mark Jackson. I think would be really, really cool. But his name has been in the coaching conversation ever since he left the Warriors. So every time there's a coaching position available, the first name you always hear is Mark Jackson, and he's still never seems to get it. You just hear him on ESPN. So, please, he's still available. Can we please get Mark Jackson? I'd be extremely happy with that. But if that doesn't happen, I definitely won't be surprised. So I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Besides that, I don't know. I could very realistically see us just taking some brand new coach, like somebody at college or something, someone we've never heard of. But anyway, that's my thoughts, Mark Jackson. Anyway, just wanted to get that out there. Congrats, Brad. I would imagine you get bump in pay grade as well, so it's good for you. Moving along to the playoffs. So, our teams, we are I believe as of right now, in a couple minutes, another team will join them, but right now, we are the only teams that are out of the playoffs.
Ironically enough.
I don't know how that happens.
Coincidentally.
But here we are. If you think about it, there's a very good chance that all 4 of the teams that made the conference finals last year could very well be at home after the first round.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know what was in that bubble, but it sure ain't out here.
Exactly. Fresh air.
Yeah, but so both the 2 Eastern Conference contenders last year exited in the first round. So let's start with Miami first. They did get swept in 4, which both of us did predict that would be the outcome. No surprise there. What were your thoughts on that series?
Very disappointing. I feel like after about game 1, like it just never seemed to care after that point. They knew it wasn't gonna be a great outcome for them, so they just kind of they're just out there just playing, but not really playing to win kind of thing. So I was like, y'all, it seems like y'all just really letting things happen and play out. So
yeah, they theoretically blew their load in that first game.
Yes.
And after that, they kind of were like, well, that was all we really had. That was our best chance to win. It didn't happen. And, yeah, they just seemed kind of uninterested after that point. One player in particular looked uninterested, but, that's because it's personal reasons. Yeah. It was, just as from top to bottom, outside of really, Goran Dragic, he always plays at 110% and looks at everybody like, man, what are y'all doing? Come on. But everybody else just seemed to really just go into the motions. But it is what it is as far as that one goes. Not much of a surprise, especially based off of our prediction. What do you think your Heat need to do in the offseason?
Breathe back in the air that was in the bubble. I don't know.
Needs to take a few hour trip up to Orlando and
the coach just sit in the arena like, well, so is it coming back to y'all or y'all
remember this?
You remember this? We're good here. It's a couple hours away. I'm just saying.
Personnel wise, who do you think they should get rid of?
They should have gotten rid of Hero. They should have gotten him. For what? Could you tell me the benefits of what you would have gotten?
I 100% agree with that.
Get rid of Hero.
He should probably go.
I just feel like we need, of course, better people coming off the bench here. So, and then give Jimmy just help, I think. Because he's, of course, in that mentality, he's not going to be a heavy scorer, somebody you can rely on to drop down and consistently drop 30-plus points every single solitary game. So give him help that he can feed the ball to and work off the assists and just.
So you would keep everybody else? Wouldn't get rid of anybody else?
Not right now. I feel like it's too early for me to fully commit on saying let's get rid of the whole team or shit like that. It's the aspect of we're good last season, and people on the aspect of because we were bad one season, we're just gonna go ahead and rebuild and get rid of people, this and that. I'm gonna give this team another shot before I start saying let's scratch so and so because of one bad season.
Yeah, it really depends on who, what's available. If you were gonna make a trade, all right, who are we talking about in particular, because depending on the person, it might be worth giving up just about everybody. But yeah, going into free agency, there's not a lot of big names coming up this summer. Kawhi is probably the biggest one just off the top of my head, but obviously I think a lot of that depends on what happens in this postseason, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, if I was Miami right now, I'm saying basically everybody is disposable right now. I'm not saying I would get rid of everybody, but if the right deal came along, all y'all could be gone.
Everybody's safe.
Outside of, I'd say Duncan Robinson, I think he is very promising, one of the best shooters in the NBA. Goran Dragic, possibly just because he's, like I said just a second ago, always plays 110%. You never question that man's effort. So possibly him. And then possibly Butler as well, just depending on the deal that's available. But for the most part, I'd say those three are pretty safe. Everybody else, have those bags packed and ready to go because you never know. Moving on to my Celtics. We lost in 5 games. So that was a ding for both of us. So postseason record right now for both of us is 1-1 because we both predicted that they would also get swept. Celtics decided, you know what, we ain't going out like that. You got to hit us with this gentleman's sweep because we ain't going out in no 4 games. Bought ourselves a little bit more time to back up that vacation by a day or 2. But, yeah, just to slow down Brooklyn just a little more before they can go out and buy that ring of theirs. Yeah, this was, again, no big surprise. What were your thoughts on this series?
They tried.
We did.
One more game than we actually tried, apparently. But they tried. Can never hate them for that. But, of course, going up against a team that they were going up against, so the ties were definitely not in their way for that.
Yeah, we did give it the old college try. We gave them a run for their money in a few of those games. Just usually come the second half, though. Excuse me, as I just burp in all your ears. The Nets would just kick on the old turbo jets and just blow right on through us. And, I mean, it was what it was. The fact that we were even able to win one game without our second best player was a shock to me. And then come later in the series, Kemba went out too. So we were out our second and third best player out of the rotation. And I'm just proud of those guys for putting up a fight that they did put up. So, yeah, which is also why when some people were calling like, oh, Brad Stevens, maybe he should be on the hot seat. I'm like, what do you want this man to do? Like, do you see who he's going up against? It doesn't matter who we have or don't like. Really?
There was no coaching that could have possibly helped the aspect. It's just
yeah, coaching was not much in effect in that series. It's the equivalent of showing up to a World War III with a slingshot. Like,
yes, and then hating the soldier because he didn't kill everybody. It's like, what do you want me to do?
It's the general's fault.
Yes.
Yeah, it was what it was. As far as the offseason goes, we need to do a lot. There needs to be a lot of house cleaning. The only 2 or 3 people I'd say, obviously keep Tatum and Brown. For the most part, though, everybody else is pretty like they need to just do away with this team. Like for what it's worth, man, they're not doing much at all. Surprisingly, I really like Robert Williams, the Time Lord. I think that he's got a lot of promise going forward. He's a huge defensive presence. I would like to see him stick around. Also, Celtics fans can hate me for this, but Marcus Smart, he is the heartbeat of this team. I would still like to see him stick around. But if I can only pick 2, it's Brown and Tatum. You can give me 4 people to keep. Those 4. Everybody else, I'm sorry, you gotta go. We pick up just a whole new people. Fournier, Kemba. I'm sorry, I like Kemba Walker, but you probably gotta go. Peyton Richardson, the rookie. Grant Williams. Grant Williams needs to be shot into the sun immediately. Please go. Tristan Thompson, I'm sorry, you showed a lot of some fight in the playoffs here for those quick 5 games. But Tristan Thompson, let's just be real, you probably got to go. Everybody just probably got to clean house, man. We got to figure out a whole new set of people. We need stars. That's just case in point. We need stars. If you gave Tatum and Brown one more superstar, we are a legitimate title contender. The rest of the team doesn't fucking matter. You can bring back Grant Hill, take him off the Sun and bring him back here. Like, who cares what the rest of the team looks like?
Yep.
It's just a matter of we really just need one more superstar and then a solid bench to go off of that. So who that will be, I have no idea. We have obviously a very hard time attracting marquee free agents. So I don't know. But as far as who we need to get rid of, that's what I think. Shaq, any names in particular you think Boston should rid?
I mean, I'm on the same page. The 2 people that they can keep are Brown and Tatum. Other than that, they can scrap everybody else if they're only choosing to pick like 2 to stay.
Yeah.
And just go for another and get like a big 3.
Right. That's the idea.
Everything would be okay for them.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we've had like iterations of big 3. Like it was Brown, Tatum, and Hayward, or you could say like Kemba never really came into his own. Hayward never really came into his own. Yeah, it's always been kind of weird. Kyrie was there for a minute, but that was before like Brown really came in. So it was just always never really a big 3 or a real legitimate pecking order that was there. So
No.
But yeah, we need to figure that out because that's how you win in today's NBA is with a heavy star-led rotation instead of just this guy's solid, this guy's solid. Like, no, you need this is a superstar, that's a superstar, and that's also a superstar, unfortunately.
So much different basketball nowadays. You need a heavy superstar team in order to get anything done.
Yes.
You might be able to get through like a regular season come back, but the first round of postseason, it's gonna be over for you.
Yeah, stars win you games in the playoffs. That's just how it works. We're seeing it right now with Atlanta and New York, which Atlanta is about to close out the Knicks. Which I was about to say that's a perfect segue, but they're not. They're next. Anyway, next we have Washington and Philly. This just wrapped up. Washington finally got put down. Philly won in 5 games as well. Both of us did predict that Philly would sweep. Washington bought themselves one damn win just to screw with our prediction, of course. So make that 1-2 for the both of us. Yeah, so Philly did their thing. At what cost? It did kind of cost them Embiid. He went down, not this tonight's game, but the previous game. But it seems like he should be back come the start of the next series. They were showing him like earlier today shooting around at the gym. So seems like he'll be okay. Did you learn anything from the series at all about, I guess, either team, really?
I mean, in a way, it kind of shows that Philly's just kind of one-man rotation almost.
Yeah, it definitely showed.
They're definitely going to struggle come playing a heavier team than this team.
To me, it just showed like how big of a need that Embiid is. Like, as long as he's there, I think they can legitimately go toe-to-toe with anybody because it's so much of their offense runs through him. When he was not there, as we were seeing against Washington, they did struggle for that first half because Washington was right there with them the whole time. And eventually they finally figured out come the second half and just blew them out as we were watching before. But as long as Embiid is there, they just play through him, and he usually is the catalyst of the offense. Everything just revolves around him. So, yeah, it looks like they're going to be playing the Hawks. The Hawks are just about to close out the Knicks here. I think that will be a tougher matchup than Washington was, but ultimately I do think that Philly will handle their business. and take care of them. So yeah, we can just kind of roll. I guess we'll see that's the next segment. Give our prediction for that series. Yeah, Washington on the other hand, guess I didn't learn too much about them from this.
Other than Russ shall be Russ. As great as I think he still performed throughout the process, the man's still gonna limited in postseason when it comes to his adventures.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely did not learn anything new about Russell Westbrook in this series. Bradley Beal was trying to do his thing. It just kind of seemed like too little too late. It's like, I mean, if you're going to drop 30, 40 points, probably shouldn't wait until you're down, 15 points in an elimination game where you're behind 3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but moving forward for the Wizards, they do have, like, between obviously Beal, Westbrook, and I can never remember the dude's name. Harishimura, something like that. The Japanese dude. The three of them, like, they've got a nice core there. It's just a matter of, can they actually go out and attract some people to come, who wants to come to Washington? I don't know, but I feel like especially Beal and Westbrook, I would imagine that there's some other people that would want to come play with them, because, hey man, the last few weeks of this season, the last few months of this season, Washington was a legitimate team, man. Like, they really came onto the scene and just kind of showed, like, if you could add another couple pieces here, they would be a lot higher than just the 8th seed. So I don't know, but Wizards fans, it's not all gloom and doom because you got blown out here. You do have a somewhat promising future.
Yeah, I give it to them. Not completely hateful that they lost and lost out the series. There's a good prospect, better than our Heat prospect, I feel like, when it comes to a future.
Yeah, a little different situation there. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for that series. Before we go to the last Eastern series of the Knicks and the Hawks, it is time for our small business showcase for the week. This week it is Og Supply Co. They are located right here in Tampa. Og Supply Co. This is their Instagram right on the screen here, their Instagram feed. But they are a plant-based personal care solution company. Og Supply Co. offers high-impact formulas that provide a luxurious personal care experience while also nurturing, nourishing, and supporting your skin and senses. No petroleum ingredients, no fragrances. Always fair trade, cruelty-free, ethically sourced raw materials through their local supply chain. Yeah, you can see that they have all types of different skincare products, obviously all natural, as I was just saying a second ago. I'm going to put on a few reviews on the screen here so you can see what people think of them and like what some of their customers have said about the products. Here's a before and after, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, like this is some of what people have said about their Miracle Butter, which was that jar that was just on the screen a second ago. Yeah, so clearly it seems to live up to its name of Miracle Butter. But if you're interested, visit ogsupplyco.com to shop now, and you can also follow them on Instagram. Either way, if you follow them or buy something, let them know that After Further Review sent you. At Og Supply Co. is right there on the screen.
It's almost easier than trying to point to the
Right. That's a good way to find your direction there. Yeah, if you're listening to the show, that is OGGSUPPLYCO. Follow on Instagram or visit their online store to buy something. So shout out to Og Supply Co. Now, moving right along, Atlanta and New York. This game is just about over. The Hawks are about to advance in the playoffs. I'm going to say it again. The Atlanta Hawks are about to advance in the playoffs.
honestly, either sentence would have been crazy to say. And
Yeah.
either Atlanta Hawks and New York Knicks. Like, all right.
I think the Hawks are still less crazy than saying the Knicks. Saying
The fact the Knicks are even here in the first place was crazy, you know. I don't think I've seen Rose out there in a hot while either.
that is a good point.
I think they
Since
just.
we turn on this game, we have not seen Derrick Rose.
I think they decided, yeah, we go ahead and sit down, rest them knees.
Yeah, this series came down to the fact that Derrick Rose was the best player for the Knicks this entire series. When you have New York Knicks fans, go home, man.
Yes, I know why y'all still here.
Julius Randle was their best player. He was an all-star. He was most improved player of the year this season. But this series, Julius Randle came up really, really small, which is really unfortunate because I feel like if he could have played better in tandem with Rose, the Knicks could have. I don't know if they still would have won this series, but I think they could have pushed it to a Game 7. Like this would have been a much more compelling series because after the first two games, man, it was looking like this was gonna go deep. This was gonna be a Eastern Conference just battle, but didn't go that way. Mainly because, like I said, if 30-some-odd-year-old Derrick Rose is your best player, probably not gonna go very well. So,
Yep. While on the other hand, Atlanta, look at D Rose.
I'm not sure what happened. I'm assuming he got hurt to some degree, which is why he's not out there. But
Or they just decided that. I mean, granted, Trae Young is the big reason why Atlanta here is about to blow this shit out here, unfortunately.
without a doubt, yeah. At the end of the day, this kind of just came down to the fact that Atlanta, much younger team, fast. They can just get up and down the court, while New York, not so much. Randall, though, going forward, I don't know. It's one of those things where he's clearly shown that he's not the number one option. Like, he's not the go-to guy. Like, he needs to go get somebody else to put around him because, I mean, we're seeing it right now. He's not going to go take over a series, which is unfortunate, but Knicks fans, are you really that surprised that Julius Randle is not the answer to all your problems?
Nope.
Let's just be honest now. Yeah, who that is, I don't know, but the good thing to Knicks fans, you have probably the best market in the NBA. I mean, I'm sure a ton of players would love to come play in New York, Madison Square Garden specifically. And you've shown that you have a competent squad. So, hey, maybe you guys are just a piece or two away from being a title contender. So,
Well, if y'all look at it this way, guess what, Knicks? You got another team in New York y'all be happy to transition to, I'm sure.
or
Yeah.
that.
Let's go ahead and bandwagon with the rest of the...
Let's give it up for all the. They're just showing the footage of Spike Lee exiting the stadium.
You know it's bad with Spike Lee while people are just there. I'm on.
Put on his bag and said, "Yep, I'm gonna head out. See you next year, Spike."
Let's see if we nice some more for you next season.
Yeah,
But yes, bandwagoners of congrats to you.
right. I was gonna say let's just give a little golf clap for the Knicks fans that stuck around. Said we are not jumping ship to those god awful Brooklyn Nets. We are sticking with our god awful New York Knicks, the true trash heap of New York. If you think we're gonna switch up,
Unfortunately, when it comes to a professional sports team, you think New York would be better, but New York as a whole is a dumpster fire of team. If you think about like 2 years ago, the Knicks, Jets, Giants,
Nets.
like none of them were like good teams to be fan of. So being a New York sports fan was just the most painful thing ever.
Yeah, Bills.
Bills. So what y'all living for?
Well, it is a new day in New York, and they're showing it now. Anyway, yeah. Shaq had predicted that the Knicks would win in 6. I had predicted that the Hawks would win in 7. Because, again, we gave these predictions after the first 2 games had been played. I really thought this was going to be a legit battle. It was not, so we both took an L on that one. which makes us 1-3 at this point as far as playoff series go. Yeah, we tried. But yeah, moving forward, the Knicks, like I just said, you got to get somebody else around Julius Randle. Jeez, he's picked the wrong time to unravel. But yeah, it is looking bright for the Knicks moving forward. Another team that's looking pretty bright. Shaq, what do you think of the? He's back.
Go stress now.
Try to leave and like, no, sit down. You got 3 minutes left.
Out of all the hype you've been doing all season, sit down. Yeah, 7 for 3 minutes. Sit down.
Y'all can only leave in groups anyway. It ain't your group's turn.
Sit
So.
back. His car's still running outside.
Yeah. What do you think of the Knicks going into the off season?
Oh god, tear this whole bitch apart. Maybe except for Rose, ain't nobody job safe. Nobody.
You would tear down this team
Yes.
after the past, I don't know, decade of not making the playoffs.
Brick for brick, tearing apart this whole entire team.
I think the foundation is clearly there. I mean, after 10 years and I'm making the playoffs and you suddenly do, clearly something's working. So I would keep together this, for the most part, keep the band together and just try and, you just need to add in superstars at this point. Yeah. That will do it for the first half of the show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a little bit of Laker Suns talk to get right back into things. So we will be back in just a second. If you were starting a team right now, would you pick him as your starting point guard?
Yes.
Oh, I'm still taking Steph. I'm sorry.
No.
You think Russell Westbrook is a better
Yes.
point guard?
An all around better point guard.
How many rings does Russell Westbrook have?
How many rings does Steph have?
3.
I'm still taking.
Kevin Durant left this man because he said, "I can't win with you. I gotta go join somebody who can."
And then he left Steph again.
Well, I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
Yes.
But at the same time, since he's left, what has Russell Westbrook done?
You make a powerhouse team around Steph Curry. That man had help.
Before that, he had him. It was him, Draymond, and Clay.
Which is still a lot more than Westbrook had.
He had Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka.
You try to play with James Harden.
If a game is on the line, the last person on my list is Russell Westbrook because that shit is hard off the glass every single time. What are you saying right now, Ryan Brown? Is a beast. Yeah, he is a beast. That doesn't mean he's better than Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Some do say that they think the coaching is the problem with that team, but I mean, maybe if you give him a great coach, maybe they'll hop up to like the 8th seed at best. Maybe they'll jump up 2 places or so, but nothing crazy.
Can't coach non-talent.
That's also true, man.
This is sort of a Disney movie where the Airbud comes and saves them from.
They do have a very interesting roster. I will say that.
Not just people like to talk. Mike Tomlin is probably the best thing to happen. One of the best things that happened to that team when it comes to coaching. Which other coach would would have tolerated all that? Think about it. Picture coaching Antonio Brown for more than one season at a time, and then picture coaching Juju on the same exact. My thing is like no other coach would have tolerated. Damn well this man is cussing them out in the locker room every game.
Screaming at him.
Using all types of language, just screaming at him in the locker room to act right. This man do nightly call-ins. You home? All right, you got a game tomorrow.
He's a high school coach. He's got to call him the night before. Hey, remember, we got to be at the airport. All right, 9 a.m.
Is that club music in the background?
Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore, 2 of them are in the process of buying the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards was asked about what he thinks about A-Rod now owning the team, and apparently he did not know who Alex Rodriguez even was. Very strange coming from him, who apparently played baseball for a big chunk of his life, and he's trying to convince people that he doesn't know. Okay, like really?
Go playing games.
Jesus.
That low-key shot distance, man. You don't shut up and just
I don't see your name on this checkbook.
what payroll?
Apparently they'll take full control come 2023, and they will also own the WNBA counterpart, the Minnesota Lynx, as well.
I feel like this Browns team has a different vibe, a more successful vibe than what you've seen in the past from them.
Nah, I think they're still the same Browns team out there every year. I think they're nameless, great faces. The Browns is the Browns. I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday. I'm just happy we're playing them again, The Browns is the Browns. I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday. The Browns is the Browns.
Get him out of here, Chuck! The Browns don't beat the Browns! The Browns don't beat the Browns!
And I'ma need that $40 even if I gotta fuck, suck, and swallow. Hit the parking lot 'cause I was
White 1K in this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
And we are back, folks. Hope you enjoyed your break. We went ahead and refilled on our drink, Summer Shandy. Shaq, I would like you to take a stab at pronouncing.
No.
No guesses?
No. No.
You're there. You're close.
Line Liggles. I don't know.
It's Line Hugel.
Yeah, Hugel.
I won't lie. Shaq was a lot closer than I probably would initially. If I didn't know any better, man, for the longest time I was like, I don't know what the hell.
German
this is.
to a degree.
I think it's like originally supposed to be, but
is it funny that I took 2 years of German in high school and still struggle with that aspect? I know the very basics of German.
Trying to see where this was brewed at, but I cannot see. Yeah, that's a little too much. Not a lot of light right here anyway. Small print. Anyway, yeah, back from the break. Wanted to, as we segue into our next topic, which is all about the Lakers and Suns series. Boy, have things turned around in LA. So Anthony Davis got injured in not the last game, but the game before Sunday's game. He went down with a groin strain, I think it's technically called. But yeah, it just adds to the long laundry list of injuries that this man has had in the past like year and a half or so, or just really just a year, or hell, not 6 months. Yeah. So we all know that Davis is a very injury-prone player. I feel like the reason last season we didn't really see that from him was Toe. Stupid. This man has heard every possible thing he could, apparently. Yeah, he only played 36 regular season games this year. But yeah, last year we didn't really get to see. Okay, a nice little phone call mid-show here, folks. Don't mind that. Yeah, last year, no real injuries from Davis because there was that big break in the season between COVID hitting and then the bubble starting. There was like however many months it was. So everybody got to rest, including him. And then this year, it's kind of business as usual, and it's actually kind of sped up the start of the season. So it's back to business as usual for Anthony Davis, which is usually a lot of injuries. If you ask Pelicans fans, they will probably tell you firsthand, yeah, he did get hurt a lot, because we remember a lot of injuries for Anthony Davis. So Lakers fans might be a little surprised, but this is really just their normal for him. Like, it wasn't too surprising this year when he started going down.
And for as young as he is as a player and how many years he's supposed to have left, is a very bad sign about his longevity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the Lakers are gonna have some serious questions to answer come this offseason. Like, how serious are we with Davis going forward? Because if he's supposed to be the successor to LeBron and he can't even stay healthy, what should we do in this case?
My thing about that is, like, him not being healthy, that's kind of like the other half of the equation of having LeBron there. Because you need somebody else that LeBron can work through. So if you don't have AD, where does that leave LeBron? Because he, like, with his age, he physically cannot carry this team.
And like you said, like, we would all imagine that they brought in Davis to be like the take the load off of LeBron, and LeBron just comes in, not literally, but figuratively speaking, comes in when tight game, big game, and can just put in, that extra punch to put them over the top, rather than it's the complete opposite. LeBron is back to the same old story
of playing all game and taking on the load.
All game, all eyes are on him. He has to do everything. And it's like, how am I in year 18 in my mid-30s, and still I have to do all this damn work? So.
Yes, and people hate on him for that. Oh, LeBron this, LeBron that. He and the GOAT retires. Like, yeah, or people talking about it. It's like, shut up. Let the man, because man just need to change his role as a facilitator, and everything's good.
This is a comment somebody left on YouTube to tell you about Anthony Davis. Charles Barkley last night in that blowout win from Phoenix, he called Anthony Davis street clothes. He said street clothes still out. Phoenix, they took advantage of that. And I think it was Ernie who asked him, why do you keep calling him street clothes? Because he's always wearing street clothes.
Just sit there casually. That man has worn his jersey a total of like 4 times.
Right, 30 some odd times.
Like, do we need to wash these jerseys, or are we just kind of?
So moving into the actual series itself, man, how things have changed since we recorded last. So Shaq had predicted that the Lakers would win in 5. I had predicted that the Lakers would win in 6. This is the one I'm kicking myself the most out of. I should have had a bit more faith in Phoenix, but I don't think either one of us had saw Davis going down. So yeah, because it was looking like that was probably going to be the case until Sunday when Davis got hurt. So yeah, he's obviously still out. He'll probably be out for tomorrow's game because a groin injury, it's not some quick you don't just quickly come back from that. It's usually a very extended period of time that you're gonna miss, and seems like it'd be pretty hard to play through. So I can't see him coming back tomorrow. And if there is a Game 7, I would still highly doubt that he comes back for that. So we all know what our original predictions are, but right now, what do you see happening?
I see Phoenix winning. I say this extends to Game 7, but Phoenix still winning. Lakers are really gonna go ham next game, try not to get shut out. LeBron gonna just like kick it into fifth gear and just like really not wanna
go down.
They're gonna force another game, but my thing about it is I don't see LeBron physically being able to do that 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
I don't think he physically can keep up and do it 2 games in a row.
I 1,000% agree. I think they'll be back at Staples Center tomorrow night in front of their home crowd. LeBron will put up a huge effort. Phoenix, I have a feeling they're going to shoot poorly because they shot on fire yesterday night. So just statistically, they'll probably shoot poorly on the road tomorrow. And then LeBron's he's gonna give it everything he has, and the rest of the Lakers will, of course, as it goes, suddenly they'll be like, "Oh, we should play now, right?" And they'll also shoot really, really well. Force the Game 7. That'll be back in Phoenix, and LeBron's old, man. He can only put up those huge efforts once.
Yeah, so he's gonna throw up a hell lot of numbers, carry the team. All those LeBron haters gonna be like, "Oh, it's quiet."
Right.
And then they're gonna come back. Phoenix could win Game 7, and LeBron haters are gonna start dogging him out again.
Right.
And forget that the man probably threw up somewhere over 40 points the game before, probably.
And that was like last night just showed me, because you could just look at him and just tell that he was just tired. Like there was not much left in the tank, and knowing like he could sit there, and even if he did just put in everything left that he had, they would probably still lose that game because nobody else was hitting shots.
Yeah, because the thing about it, he's going to go out there, plays hard out, they could get the lead or keep it, and then, of course, the moment that homeboy goes to sit on the bench for a couple minutes, all that's go, and for him to go back out just to rebuild the lead that he already had before he went out, and it's just going to be like him emptying everything he has. He's going to play almost every minute of this next coming game.
Right.
And not be able to do it again next game.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Like, if Davis was here, I'd say completely different. I would say the Lakers would pull this out in 7 because any other time, I would not bet against LeBron James in the Game 7. That's just, I would never dare do that. But in this instance, I think this will be the first time we see LeBron lose in a Game 7.
Because he's not built for that anymore. He's like I said, a facilitator. He's just meant to use the basketball IQ, pass it around, control the tempo of the game, but not be carrying that load. AD is supposed to be doing that, but of course we know he's built out of string cheese apparently, so he can't. So it's kind of like, well, why is he here for if you can't handle the load?
Which makes me think, who knows? Maybe this summer. I'm not gonna say that they get. I mean, I don't know. I know that LeBron really likes him. They seem to be really tight. So if LeBron really likes him, he's probably not going anywhere. But maybe the Lakers organization has something else in mind. They
maybe
decide
emptying out the rest of the roster to get a number 3 in there, and trying to get a big trio involved.
Yeah.
So
I tell you one thing, someone that's definitely is gone. Dennis Schroeder, man. Oh my God. There's been a few players this postseason that need to be eradicated. Dennis Schroeder's got to be one of them. Turned down. Lakers offered him, I think, like $80 million. He turned it down because he wanted 100. And then he comes out, and this is the performance. He didn't score a single point in last night's game. Like, come on. And I really like Dennis Schroeder, but he had a really good game in Game 3, I think it was. And then since then, he's done little. I mean, all of them did little to nothing last night. There was like 3 or 4 Lakers that did not score a single point in last night's game. But Dennis Schroeder specifically, you're supposed to be the 3rd best player on the team, asking for a huge contract, in about 3 more days, you ain't gonna be asking for much more from them because they're just be sending you right along your way.
He's like, I asked for $100 million. Okay, I hope your next team gives it to you.
He needs to be on the same flight that Grant Williams is on, which is a nonstop flight to the sun. So good luck, buddy.
Co-pilots.
On the other side of this, though, the Suns. What do you think of Phoenix?
Complete the whole team. I feel like they're very complete. Very few flaws to this team. So I see them making a very deep run when it comes to this playoff. So
if Chris Paul's shoulder holds up, I really think that, honestly, I think that Phoenix is going to come out of the West. I feel like their next biggest competition, I think Utah and them are very similar, so I think Utah could give them a real run for their money as well. The other LA team, the Clippers, could also give them a run for their money, but we'll have to see if the Clippers come out of that. We'll have to see if, who knows, Phoenix may not even come out of this, so I don't want to get ahead of myself.
But yeah.
But hypothetically speaking, Devin Booker has been crazy. This is his first time in the playoffs, and he's so just unbothered. Like, dude is balling out of control. But yeah, I really think that it's just going to be, they go about as far as Chris Paul's shoulder will go. So between those two, Cam Payne, he's been outstanding filling in for Chris Paul when he's, trying to heat up that shoulder on the sideline. DeAndre Ayton, dude is a monster down low. I love watching him play. He was all over the place these past 2 games. Jay Crowder, he's got some kind of weird beef against LeBron. I guess when he was missing all those shots when they played together, maybe that did it, and he got tired of LeBron yelling at him. So now
and they gave him making shots.
Now he's found his out in Arizona. He's found his groove, and now he's telling LeBron to go kick rocks. Yeah, but Jay Crowder can play all of a sudden. So
apparently Utah's gonna work the living hell up.
Yeah,
that's that. Say they chucks it out of bounds.
That's what we do. Yeah, I believe. Okay, so the winner of the Lakers Sun series will play the winner of the Nuggets Portland series. So we'll see what happens there. The soothing sounds brought to you by Shaquille Brown. Moving along. Speaking of that, Denver and Portland. This is currently at 3-2 after that stunner of a game last night. So Shaq predicted Denver win this in 6. So if Denver wins tomorrow night, Shaq will be right. I said that Portland will win in 7, so I'm praying that the Blazers can win the next 2. It's not looking too hot. But the game last night, what a freaking game. That was the best playoff game out of this entire postseason so far. Went to double overtime. Dame put up 55 points in those double overtime loss. Crazy. And it's such a trailblazer way to lose a game. Like, Damian Lillard plays out of his mind in a very winnable game and just can't get enough help from the rest of the people on that team. Like, if he was able to get anything from everybody else or anybody else, the Blazers win that game. I'd like to add a third person to that flight to the sun, Robert Covington. My God. Y'all need to open up those seats.
Get the Spirit Airlines to the sun.
Or you just forget the plane. Put them directly in a cannon and blast them.
Got a slingshot.
This dude, he had the opportunity. I think he had 2 opportunities in both overtimes. I mean, all points in overtime are huge. Like, any basket is a huge, like, you need all the points. He had the chance for an easy putback.
Shit.
Somebody went down. Yeah, he had the opportunity for an easy putback, and he decides, instead of just grabbing the ball and just easy
Oh,
layup.
Mitchell might be hurt. He got his shit rocked like him up. Boom.
Donovan Mitchell just caught a nice hand right to the face. He'll be all right. Yeah. Anyway, Robert Covington, instead of just easy layup, he decides to go for the one hand jam NBA street put back. It's like, you don't need to do all that. So one time.
So how that real?
And the second overtime goes around, and I swear he did the same thing again. I'm like, what are you doing? But anyway, Robert Covington, go ahead and hop on that flight too. And it's not like he's a young player. Covington has a good amount of experience to be doing some stuff like that, but it is what it is. And then CJ McCollum.
I'm trying to see that shit in 3D.
Shaq's on a whole nother vibe right now.
Oh no, the lyrics of the future.
CJ McCollum with the game on the line stepped out of bounds, and that was the game right there. And I saw it in real time. Like, he had clearly stepped out of bounds, and I remember literally falling out of my seat. Like, oh, they were right there in just a trailblazer way to lose a game. Like, Dame Lillard, man, if you could just give him just a legitimate other star. I don't even think it needs to be a superstar, to be honest. If you can keep McCollum, Lillard, and one more star, the Blazers would be ridiculous. Hey, Lillard, I know you're all about staying in Portland, but if you want to come to Boston, oh man,
Miami,
please.
South Beach, South Beach.
But I mean, come on.
LeBron got a ring there. Shaq got a ring there. Wade was there.
Yeah, and now you got Tyler Hero. So
most likely you'll incorporate him to trade for you. Don't you worry. Be gone when you come in.
to get Dame Lillard, you'd probably have to give up just about everybody.
Yeah, it's all right. We're doing that. Just see him in the airport. They both walking by each other in the airport, just looking at each other.
Yeah. So Dame Lillard, man, he was spectacular. Hit a 3 to send the game into overtime. Hit another step back turnaround 3 to send it into double overtime. Like, he was just getting to every single spot possible. Mel saying Miami. Of course he's saying Miami.
It's Miami. South Beach.
All right, whatever. Yeah, Dame was getting to every single spot that he wanted to. There was a point where Austin Rivers literally was thanking God in double overtime because Dame had finally missed a 3-pointer. Like, he had stopped playing just to thank you for finally having this man miss a shot. He was unbelievable. That was one of the best shooting performances I've ever seen in my 26 years on this earth. Like, he played out of his mind last night, and it's a damn shame that the Blazers somehow lost that one. Like, Nurkic, you've got to do a better job down low. I know that you're going up against Jokic, but I mean, can you make it a little more difficult for the guy? Because I mean, he just had a field day with Nurkic. He got fouled out just easily because Nurkic was just picking him apart. But yeah, it just kind of goes to show, man. Portland prediction can get done in 7, but fortunately, I can't see the Nuggets losing 2 straight. Nuggets are just too good for that. So Shaq may be right on this one. Before we get to the last 2, want to mention that there's an audio version of the show. If you want to click on the first link in the description below, if you're here on YouTube, you can be taken to Anchor, and then you can select whatever podcast platform that you'd like to listen on. Yeah. If you don't want to look at us, that's completely fine.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but it's all right.
We won't hold it personally against you.
Yeah, I will.
So you can check us out, audio version. It's all good. I will sleep fine at night. Jack will hunt you down.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So then we also have the Clippers and the Mavs. So the reason for the title of this episode, how the tables have turned in LA, because last week we went from saying the Lakers were about to press on the gas and wipe out the Suns, and the Mavs were about to press on the gas and wipe out the Clippers to the complete opposite.
Yep.
Now this series is tied up, and the Lakers are on the brink of elimination. So
I'll tell you, this show is good at talking everything out of existence.
except our own teams.
Exactly. If you want your team to do well, don't bring it up on the show. Any team you don't talk about, doing well.
Right.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, anybody talking to you?
So and so had her own input to throw in here. Yeah.
Mute the video and listen to the audio.
It's not a terrible idea. Yeah. The Mavs. I did kind of say like.
Shut up. This is the Lakers home. Lakers are my last dying hope of a team that I actually moderately like making out.
That's the thing that we need to keep in mind, people. Who is going to rival the Nets ultimately? Because it's starting to look like the Sixers are like the last hope that looks like a legitimate option of rivaling the Nets.
Guess what? Lakers don't do well, don't make it. Guess what? Y'all might as well get used to us calling the Nets as the champions. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Because there's not many. I mean, maybe Utah. I feel like Utah is a very also well-rounded team.
Just know this: no matter whether LeBron's hurt, AD hurt, they're gonna play LeBron and AD against the Nets. No matter what's going on with the process, they're gonna play.
They'll send LeBron out there with no rest, no
in a wheelchair to go out there and play.
They'll send AD out there, all 10 of his toes jammed up. Get up there and play.
Unfortunately, a weird reference. Never mind. I'll bring that up another time. But
round 2, folks. Anyway, yeah, the Clippers and the Mavs. Yeah. So last episode, the first 2 games, the entire Dallas Maverick team was shooting out of their minds. And I think I had mentioned I highly doubt that they could keep up that clip of shooting, but at the same time I thought that Luka would be able to, and because of that I had said the Mavs would sweep. Obviously I'm wrong on that one. Shaq had predicted that the Mavs would win in 5, so I guess we're both wrong on that one. Yeah, but the Mavs of course fell apart. Everybody's forgot how to shoot all of a sudden. Hardaway went back to worse than what he normally is. Porzingis, good God, such a strange player. Man is 7'1", 7'2", and will not play in the paint. Refuses to play in the paint. I'm like, what is wrong with you? He just keeps jacking up the threes. They're not going in anymore. Stop. Go down low and go contest a damn shot or try a layup. Did you ever think of that? I know it's strange in 2021, but Porzingis, if he could just play like an actual big, it would do a lot of favors for the Dallas Mavericks. But I guess that's neither here nor there. So with the series being tied 2-2, I believe they just started actually 10:30. How do you see these final 3 games going, or possibly 2 games going?
Trying to remember our
Special Olympics.
horrible. I still see. So who did I vote for? I voted for Dallas to win this one out. I still gonna stick with Dallas to win this one out.
So you still have the Mavs winning?
Yes.
Any reason in particular?
I just don't think the Clippers is gonna hold through, take over, and I think Dallas is still a very one-fun great team. And this is apparently Special Olympics NBA style, but I see if Dallas is a very good all-rounded team to be losing this.
I hate to switch up my pick, but I don't know. The Mavs, they've just kind of shown, man. Like if the 3 ball is not going in for the Mavs, you can forget about it with them. So, I mean, obviously our original picks are wrong. So if I were to give a second pick, I'm saying that the Clippers win this. I think they'll just win out. I think they'll win this in 6. So they'll win the next 2 games. But I mean, who knows? Might be completely wrong with the way our track record has been.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will see about that. Clippers could also be maybe a pretty good matchup. I mean, I think that'd be a cool game. Nets or cool series. Nets Clippers would be a very interesting finals. If the Clippers can make it to the finals, because that will tell me everything I need to know. If they can make it through the gauntlet of the playoffs, it will show, okay, the Clippers are not just a bunch of folding chairs. Like, they can actually sustain, enough focus to get to
folding
the finals.
chairs at a Sunday at a church event, black church event.
Go ahead and clean them up.
Stack them up.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course, last but not least, the series that is on right now, Memphis and Utah. Utah is about. I think we can already say that they're about to close out.
They're not even letting it be competitive at this point. Donovan Mitchell has 23 points already.
Yep, and it's still the first half.
They're trying to work their way into a 30-point lead almost at this point.
Yes.
Look at Donovan Mitchell. Look at this pass. My God.
Dead eye. Dead eye. He could have passed that from outside the stadium if he wanted to.
Another player that I think has slept on people and give appreciation is Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. D. Mitchell is crazy. I think he holds the either has the second most points scored in a playoff game. He's got like 57, which he put up last year. Yeah, but anyway, the Jazz right now have 72 points in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that they're sending the Grizzlies home tonight.
They would have to freeze up. That team would have to freeze up the rest of the game for to even remotely competitive for.
Yeah, so looks like the Jazz will go on to play the Clippers or the Mavs. That is what I just said,
It's
right?
just funny how you're doing these calls at halftime. Like, all right, this is as good as done.
Or not the Clippers. I'm sorry, the Lakers or the Phoenix Suns. So, yeah. Anyway, I was going to ask how the Grizzlies avoid elimination tonight, but they don't.
They don't. Oh my God!
Donovan Mitchell pouring it on.
It's like fuck at yours.
They scored 75 points
in halftime.
First half.
Mitchell has like 25 points here in the first half of this game.
They're sending home tonight, man. It is over for the Grizzlies. They had that first game where he did not play. The Grizzlies took advantage of that, but then he came back.
And foot in their throats from the beginning whistle, jump off. It hasn't eased up yet.
Yes. So to round all this out, as we are just about the tail end of the first round, it seems like the only games or the only series left we have are the LA Phoenix series, LA Dallas
almost
series,
about done.
and the Denver and Portland series. So those three. Going forward, who are your okay, these four teams are legitimate. I can see them making it to the finals and being a contender.
New York, of course, I see them. The overly dream team stacked, making Brooklyn. Brooklyn. I see them making it all the way through. And
right, of course.
Finals. Unfortunately, I don't see a team contending with them. Phoenix, I see Phoenix as another team that might have a great possibility of making it to the finals. So, other than that, I feel like it's a toss-up between the other teams on who makes it per se. Anything can happen. But those teams, as they stand now, I feel like they're remotely healthy to a degree and can play it out. So, those are the only two teams I'm committing to as.
Okay. To me, I would agree with the first two, Brooklyn and Phoenix. I would say Brooklyn first. I honestly think Utah is second. They seem really complete and, as far as I know, healthy. But the only thing I have with Phoenix is Chris Paul. He just always seems to get hurt in the playoffs, and here we go again with his shoulder. So we don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping that he'll be all right, but he's kind of just a big question mark right now. So. If it wasn't for that, I would say Phoenix. But Utah, very complete. They remind me a lot of Phoenix and healthy. So I'm going to say Utah second. Then Phoenix for my fourth team. I'd like to say Philly, but they really confused me these past couple of games with Embiid being out. So yeah, it's kind of just a toss up between Philly and Denver for me at that fourth spot. But for the most part, yeah, Mel saying he's pulling for Phoenix out of the West. I agree. I would love to see the Suns come out of the West. That would be really, really cool. So, yeah, I think probably all are in agreement that we already know how the East is probably going to go. I just hope that everybody gives the Nets a really hard time the whole way there. Because, again, I'll say it again. Their knees are made of plastic. If you can just really give them a hard time, one of them's going to go down. We all know it. It's bound to happen. It doesn't matter how much rest you gave him in the first regular season.
KD's going to go down.
Probably.
He's hitting his game streak limit of the amount of games he can play before he has an injury.
He played, what, 5 games in a row?
Yeah, that's pushing it right there. We all know this man can only play like in 1 to 2 week increments before he has another injury. with plywood knees.
Not even plywood, he's got a balsa wood knees. What they gives you in karate class.
The little pre-broken boards that he punched. He hit it. Oh, good job.
Yeah, that is the best shot anybody has taken down the Nets. One of them has to go down. Besides that, probably is not happening. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode, though, folks. Shaq, anything else you want to mention before we get on out of
as
here?
long as Milwaukee doesn't go nowhere, I'm perfectly content with.
Shaq's got it out for the Bucks.
That's the only team. That's the only team I want Brooklyn to take out right now. Is make
Fair
sure
enough.
Milwaukee just.
Fair enough. I'm the opposite way. I don't care who it is that takes down the Nets. I will think gratefully. If somebody takes down the Nets, I'll throw a party for you. That will do it for this week's episode. Come next week, we should be fully into the second round of the playoffs. Yeah, if any news comes out of the NFL, we'll be sure to talk about it. But
Mitch almost 30 points going.
Yeah, D. Mitchell doing his thing. Rest in peace to all the teams that did not make it this far.
Yeah.
Talk to you all next week. Peace.